Quick disclaimer, information in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and is not intended to be treated as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare team before making changes to your diet, lifestyle, supplementation, or medication.
We've shared a lot this year, over 50 episodes, hundreds of tips, and several incredible success stories. Today, let's celebrate the most popular moments, breakthroughs, and people who made 2025 such a powerful year.
Welcome to Type 2 Diabetes Talk, the place where we chat about what really works to treat type 2 diabetes and prediabetes naturally with nutrition and lifestyle. If you're looking to optimize blood sugar and A1C, lose weight, reduce medications, and improve your overall health, this is the place to be. Now, here's your host, Type 2 Diabetes Nutrition Specialist, Dr. Jetta.
Hello, wonderful people, and welcome to our final episode of 2025. I want to begin by saying a heartfelt thank you for tuning in throughout the year. Whether this is your very first episode or you've been listening since the beginning, I truly appreciate you being here. This podcast exists for you with the goal of sharing truths, always backed by science, natural treatment strategies, insights, and understanding of your condition so that you can have clarity and confidence in treating your pre- and T2 diabetes naturally. I started this podcast in December 2023, and I'm so grateful that it continues to grow and reach more people each year. We've covered a lot in 2025, from popular topics like reversing prediabetes and what fruit to avoid, to deep dives into cholesterol, nutrition myths, and effective blood sugar strategies. We've also answered your questions in our Q&A episodes, and as always, your questions are often the ones others are thinking too, so please keep sending them in. And a big thank you to all of you who've left a rating or review this year. Every single one helps more people find the podcast and take that first step toward improving their health. Your words mean a lot, and they help us reach even more people who need this information. So if you haven't taken the time to leave one, please head to our website at type2diabetestalk.com/review and leave us a 5-star rating and review. Or you can also do so on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Our website is type2diabetestalk.com/review, and I would really appreciate that from you. To all of our members, I want to say a special thank you and a special shout out to Lisa, Paul, Jeanette, Susan, Curtis, and Carol, who were all guests on the podcast this year and shared their stories and the benefits they've experienced from being a member. Thank you to all of our members, though, of course, because I know many of you listen in regularly and have shared how the podcast helps reinforce the strategies you're learning in our programs every day. We've also introduced some great new features inside the membership this year, including expanded food and supplement resources, journal tools, the step-by-step health maps on lowering cholesterol and fasting blood sugar, and of course, the ongoing monthly support. It's been such a pleasure to support you all throughout 2025, and we have even more coming your way in the new year. Before we get into the top 5 episodes of the year, I just want to say this. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Thank you for taking action, and thank you for allowing me to support you in some small way as you work toward better health. I truly am grateful to be a part of your life and help make a difference. Okay, we're kicking off the top 5 for 2025 with episode 84, which tackled one of the most confusing areas in nutrition, fruit and diabetes. Fruit is often seen as healthy, and it can be, but not all fruit is blood sugar friendly. This episode explored the real impact of fructose-rich fruits, and this is important for everyone with pre- and T2 diabetes, as fruits can work against your goals of lowering A1C or improving insulin resistance. It's important to understand that even natural sugars can spike blood sugar, particularly in dried fruit, fruit juices, and canned fruits in juice. These are some of the most concentrated forms of sugar in people's diets, and without realising it, they can be just as problematic as added sugars, especially when eaten too much. In episode 84, we covered specific high-carb fruits like mangoes, bananas, watermelon, apples, pears, grapes and oranges. We discussed nutrition data and glucose monitoring experiments, and the episode highlighted just how much these fruits can spike blood sugar, even in healthy people. So it was no doubt an eye-opener for many people. The key takeaway was that while fruit can offer nutritional benefits, it's important to choose wisely. Portion size matters, and pairing fruit with protein or fat can help reduce blood sugar spikes as well. And better fruit choices include berries, plums, cantaloupe melon, kiwi fruit, and citrus like lemon or lime. Of course, if you're one of our members, you can go to our whole fruit guide or explore the library for all of the nutrition data on fruits. But if you want more clear, practical strategies to enjoy fruit selectively while still keeping blood sugar in check, head back and listen to episode 84. Next in our 2025 countdown is episode 63, where we took a deep dive into low carbohydrate diets and their powerful role in treating T2 diabetes and prediabetes. Once considered controversial, low-carb diets are now supported by decades of science, and episode 63 laid out exactly why they work, how they work, and why they continue to outperform many conventional dietary recommendations. We explored the evolution of low-carb advice from early 1900s cookbooks that restricted starches and sugars to the misguided low-fat dietary guidelines of the 1980s, and finally to today's growing body of research showing that reducing carbohydrates improves A1C, lowers insulin demand and leads to weight loss, better lipids and cholesterol, and most importantly, reduces the need for medication. With over 50 randomised control trials and around 10 systematic reviews in recent years, the evidence is strong, consistent, and clinically meaningful. Without any question, low-carb diets outperform every single other diet out there, whether that be Mediterranean, vegan, low-fat, usual diet, etc. Now, I've been researching low-carbohydrate eating plans and their treatment effects for diabetes for over a decade, and I think there's a lot of confusion about these, even still, because there's a lot of nonsense out there on the Wild West Web. We're not talking carnivore diets where carbs are virtually zero, or crazy keto diets where carbs are super low to extremes. We're talking a healthy, low-carbohydrate, sustainable eating plan with about 10 to 25.9% of energy intake based on nutrient-dense foods. An eating plan that's sustainable long-term and improves blood sugar, A1C, and many other aspects of your metabolism. That's what we teach and what the research shows is highly effective. You've also heard from many of our member stories sprinkled throughout podcast episodes just how effective and life-changing this way of eating can be. The key takeaway from episode 63 is that low-carb eating for diabetes is not a fad. It is a well-established, safe, and evidence-based way to improve every aspect of your health. And when done properly, with real whole foods and nutrient-dense meals, it's the most powerful way to improve blood sugar, weight, insulin resistance, reduce medications, and improve your long-term health outcomes. So I'd encourage you to listen to the insights and all the science in episode 63. And for the best help possible to eat to treat diabetes, head to our website and join us as a member.
Are you ready to take charge of your diabetes health? Dr. Jetta's T2 diet program has been clinically proven in a randomized controlled trial to dramatically reduce A1C, weight, and medications in just 16 weeks. The T2 diet program will guide you step by step to discover an eating plan that feels natural and sustainable for you, and most importantly, works to get results. Learn more and join the program today at type2diabetestalk.com www.prediabetes.org/programs.
Coming in at number 3 for the year was episode 74, where we explored one of the most fundamental yet confusing topics, the difference between A1C and daily blood sugar. All those numbers and the different metrics and what they mean, it can be confusing, right? Especially feeling overwhelmed by fluctuating numbers or not getting helpful answers from healthcare providers or out there on the Wild West Web. In episode 74, we broke it down simply, explaining that daily blood sugar shows your glucose at a specific moment, while A1C gives you an average over 3 months. Both are vital, but they serve different purposes. Daily testing helps guide immediate decisions about food, movement, sleep, etc., while A1C tells you whether your overall management is working over time. We covered why your A1C might still be high, even if some days look okay, and explained how post-meal readings, more than fasting ones, have a stronger relationship to your A1C result. With the right knowledge about the differences in these measurements, you can use these numbers to adjust your food, your routine, and your progress in a way that brings meaningful results. And that's exactly what episode 74 aimed to provide. So I'd certainly suggest going back to episode 74 if you want further clarity or a refresher that can help you use your data with more confidence. The second most popular episode of 2025 was episode 68, where we explored the incredible impact of a protein-rich breakfast and how it can affect blood sugar, A1C, appetite control, and your metabolism overall. What you eat first thing in the morning really does matter, especially when living with pre or T2 diabetes. In episode 68, you were introduced to a concept known as the second meal phenomenon. This is where a balanced, high-protein breakfast not only improves blood sugar after that meal, but also supports better blood glucose control across the entire day. We looked at research that showed how protein can improve insulin sensitivity, lower hunger hormones, boost satiety, which is your feeling of fullness and appetite satisfaction, and we even explored how protein at breakfast can help reduce the need for diabetes medications. Adding whey protein took these benefits further, with some studies showing greater reductions in post-meal glucose, A1C, and weight loss compared to food sources alone. So what are we talking about here in terms of ideal protein targets at breakfast? Well, it's probably more than what you're eating now. Around 30 to 40 grams is a great place to aim for. Episode 68 covered many meal ideas, from omelettes and yogurt parfaits to ground meat patties with vegetables and protein-packed smoothies. And the key takeaway was clear. When you start your day with protein, you're not just balancing blood sugar, you're supporting hormones, reducing cravings, and setting yourself up for more stable energy and appetite control throughout the day. Before we move on to chat about our most popular episode of 2025, let's hear a testimonial from one of our members.
Karen said, "My results: 36-pound weight loss and A1C lowered from 10.6 to 6.2. The thing I love the most is the library. If I have a question, it's easy to look up the answer. I love getting new menus each week too."
Topping the charts as the most listened to episode of 2025 was episode 61, where we focused entirely on reversing prediabetes. We know there are a growing numbers of people being diagnosed with prediabetes at all different ages, and this episode clearly resonated deeply with many of our listeners, especially those who are at the early stages of their journey and looking for clear, practical answers about what they can do to avoid progressing to type 2 diabetes. But it was also equally beneficial and helpful to those who've struggled to change their prediabetes, and many have taken the next step to join our Prediabetes Reset program or VIP membership to get step-by-step help to reverse their prediabetes. Episode 61 featured one of our powerful member stories from Lisa, who took action and reversed her prediabetes in just 6 months. And Lisa's story was a standout. She reduced her A1C from 6.0 to 5.5, lost 13 pounds, which is 6 kilo, and she felt better both physically and mentally. Her experience showed what's possible when someone commits to their health and has the right support. In episode 61, we also answered the most common questions people ask, like whether prediabetes is reversible, how long it takes, and what steps work best. We clarified that, yes, it is reversible and it doesn't have to take years. Through nutrition-focused changes, reducing carbohydrate load, increasing movement, improving sleep and stress, and focusing on consistent habits, it is possible to bring blood sugar levels back into the normal range, most often without any medication needed. And in fact, for most of our members, they are returning to normal glucose within 3 to 6 months, and then continuing on to further improve their health. Prediabetes, as we often talk about throughout the podcast, is a warning sign that opens the door to powerful change, and with the right actions, reversal is absolutely within reach. And it should be the goal for every person with prediabetes. But since there is a lot of confusing info out there on the Wild West Web, it's no wonder episode 61 on reversing prediabetes naturally, alongside Lisa's powerful story, was the episode of the year. As we look ahead to 2026, I'll continue bringing you evidence-based insights, practical strategies, and inspiring stories to help you eat to treat diabetes so you can live well and thrive. We've already got some powerful episodes planned, and I always welcome your topic suggestions and questions. So please head to type2diabetestalk.com/message to submit those. And of course, we'll keep spotlighting member stories, answering your questions, and sharing the latest research in ways that make sense and give you something to act on. If you know someone who could benefit from these episodes, please share the podcast with them. It really helps us reach more people who need this kind of support and encouragement. And if you're a regular listener and haven't left a rating and review for the podcast, please do so at type2diabetestalk.com/review. I want to wish you a safe, happy, and healthy end to the year. And remember, however your 2025 unfolded, a new year brings a fresh opportunity to recommit to your health. And I'll be right here to support you every single step of the way. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you in 2026. Dr. Jetta, over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to Type 2 Diabetes Talk. Please subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast platform. And for episode replays, episode notes, and more, visit type2diabetestalk.com. New episodes are available Tuesdays, 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, or your time zone equivalent. Thanks again. We're truly grateful to be a part of your life and help make a real difference.